Hello and welcome to this cozy session of drawing. Today we'll be drawing Amy in her outfit from the DC X Sonic the Hedgehog comics. The sketch was done on my notebook and I transferred it over by just taking a picture. Here I'm using Procreate to do the basic line art, and because I thought the artwork should just be a small sketch and nothing too fancy, I just used Procreate. And so you'll be seeing me switch between Procreate and Clip Studio Paint as I juggle the idea of whether I want to make this a fan comic cover of the crossover or just another artwork independent without any real meaning behind it. So first of all, you can see I'm just doing some basic line art and outlining my sketch from the paper to digital layers by copying out the outline. I stated that I wanted to redraw the hand, but I decided not to because it just fits, and if you do notice, it was from the reference. Here I didn't want to draw a real star. In a sense, I kind of wanted to make it from scratch, so you can see I made a little diagram and just copied it over 3 times on her dress and made a new layer, used the basic line tools in Procreate and made that the final line work. Here I'm taking notes from a video I was watching. It was by Proco about how to make comic covers, and that's when I got the idea to change this artwork into a cover. But then I scrapped that again, so you can see me basically making a solid color of Amy and her, well, iconic pink. Well, not really this pink, but you know what I mean. It's just a color of her outline and silhouette so that I can color it in. And then I realized, hey, maybe I should make this a comic cover. So you can see me, I basically exported a PNG file from Procreate and took it over to Clip Studio Paint and my sketch from the video I was watching about how to brainstorm comic covers. Right now I'm trying to see how a comic cover would work with that pose, and that's when I got the ideas of interpreting a scene into a still image from the comic, which they both are still images, but you get what I mean. I'm trying to pinpoint that panel that we didn't see in the comic where we saw the aftermath where Amy defeats the villain, but we never see her in action. So I was like, oh, if there was a shot keyframe of an animation, it would be when Amy was looking smug. I decided to have the guy's arm out, but I decided that would make no sense because he never saw her coming. And you can see the 2 girls in the foreground just helpless from the panel, and she's like in between them, therefore signifying that she was saving them. Right now I'm making a vector line art, so I'm redoing the line art here by making a vector. And if you don't know what a vector line art is, it's basically a line art that no matter how much you zoom into it, it will never get pixelated, and that's because it's using math equations to essentially draw the line that you have drawn. Drawn. English, guys. You can see I'm also trying to figure out how the hand anatomy works by using basic shapes to figure out where the thumb and other fingers could go to be more specific, the pointing finger, I don't know what it's called officially, but that had to go behind the hammer's handle because it would make sense. Otherwise, how would she be holding it in a steady manner that could, well, eliminate the villain, right? So now we're drawing the rope, and the rope is pretty interesting because I wanted to have it wrap around the villain, but I didn't want to draw the formation of the villain so that it wouldn't distort the staging in a sense, because you have the foreground with the two characters, Amy being in the middle, and then the background is the main villain. So I wanted the rope to be in motion to go into the background. That's why you're able to see the end of the rope, which I noticed most illustrations never do, which could be a art bible thing of the character for Wonder Woman, where her rope end is never seen because, well, technically it is an endless rope, right? So that might be something I would go back and redo if I ever want to redo this artwork, but for now I'm happy with where it's at. So we are now doing more detailed on the costumes, such as her boots and cape with the cape design. Those marks were really interesting because I saw those marks from like a Greek mythology, what's it called? You know what I mean? But yeah, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make one drawing of it and then copy and paste and resize it. Now we're trying to do some coloring, and you can see I wanted it to be a sunset thing, but then I was like, oh, but we never saw a cover with pastel colors, so that's where you see that. And I was like, oh, maybe I should just do the flat colors of Amy first because her colors will not change, whereas the others, you can easily disregard their colors because they're not the main focus. So making her the most colorful and everything else around her monochrome. And then this is the point where I got so annoyed at making it a cover art, so I decided, you know what, let's just go back and make it a cool illustration that I did and not a cover art. So you can see me redoing the flats in Procreate and trying to figure out the positions of like what kind of color, saturation, and so on I wanted. In the end, I just decided to figure it out later on and focus on the lighting, and that's where you see me working on the rope. And the rope is, well, shiny. It doesn't shine too much, but I wanted it to shine a lot because that's what's gonna get people to buy the book if this was ever a comic cover. Wait a minute. Maybe I would want this to be a cover. So you see what I mean? I'm so indecisive, so I decided to figure that out later on and just enjoy the drawing process. So right here I'm using a clipping layer on the line art and decided to make some brown on where the glow would be, and for the picture to look more cohesive I needed to add a complementary color, which is blue, to the main color that is red. So we see now it's gonna be like a nighttime scene because of this kind of hue of cyan. Blue is not really common at all in sunset scenes, so I just decided to scrap the fact that it could be a canon panel in the comic and just went with, let's just make it cool. And you can see I went back to Clip Studio Paint to see if I can actually make a comic cover out of this because I still couldn't get that idea out of my head. And I really love the colors I got from Procreate, so I exported the Procreate file in a PSD and bring it back to Clip Studio Paint, try to line up all the layers I already had in Procreate and readjust it to match the dimensions here I had in my original comic cover file. That's Amy with her cool comic cover. And yeah, thanks for watching.